So I've been wanting to play this game for the longest. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to play this game for the longest was, well, because it was an old game and because they didn't make it anymore. It's not like Crash Bandicoot that they'll bring back after a certain period of time. This wasn't really a popular game back in the past when it originally came out. Not many people played it, and the only people who played it were the people who loved the movie, The Thing. Those who do not watch horror movies, or knew of horror movies, or knew of The Thing, even though they knew of horror movies, but they never saw the horror movie The Thing, wouldn't go after this game when they realized that this game came out. Not to mention, most people would buy the game even if they weren't gamers simply because it was a continuation of the said movie story. Because this game is apparently canon, even though a lot of people don't want it to be. If the director of the film gave the game a blessing, or at least acknowledged that the game can be considered a continuation of his film in a fictional reality, and consider it to be a part of that movie world, not its own entity. If director John Carpenter said it was okay, if he said it was okay, and from what I've heard, that he did say it was okay, for them to go ahead and make the game in association with the film as a side story, which means that makes it canon in some ways, then it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or what everyone wants to believe. If the director and the studio who made the film say it was okay for these people to make their own game, whether it's its own side story, as long as it's within the universe of the thing and not an alternate reality. It's within that universe, that original universe. It's not an else world or another dimension. It's in that same reality, just like probably a few years after, or a few decades after, maybe, let's say, you know, not even a couple of months or maybe weeks after. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's within the world that the outpost was in as part of the story. Then who cares what anyone else think? They weren't the ones who made the movie. They weren't the ones who directed the movie. They weren't the studio who produced the movie or distributed the movie. They were just viewers. So everyone has their opinions, but your opinion don't really count for anything if you didn't put up the money to make the movie or to finance the game. You're just whoever you are, which means you don't count for much of anything if you ain't paying the bills. I mean, your opinion matters, but if you ain't dropping that cash to help out or fund something, you're just a talker. So I was the person who was willing to give this game a chance through my friend, because I didn't have the PlayStation 2 um, when I was that young, because this game came out before I was old enough to play this game. So when I did become old enough to play this game, it was already past a certain period for which it already expired and it wasn't sold in the stores anymore. So I had to play it on someone else's old-fashioned PlayStation 2. So yeah, I funded the game, or should I say, I helped my friend pay for the game, and I supported what the movies stand for, and wanted to actually support um, an official remake of the film, which never happened. But they made a remake of, or continuing of, the original thing. But the closest we could have done was just buy the game and play buy old timey VHS and T-shirts and products to support whatever the film was, or everything in association with regards to this film. So that's how we kind of supported the film itself. We couldn't do anything from the movie aspect or financial aspect or even acting because we weren't actors, but we did what we can because we loved the film so much. So yeah, I mean, if you're not down with this universe, the thing, if you weren't really a active supporter of the thing, if you're just a moviegoer, then that's fine, you know. But people listen to the opinion of those who are more of supporters for a cause and those who are just giving their opinions because they're willing to do something while other people are just thinking about it, or giving their 2 cents but not really in support of the things or not really fan of it. They're just passerbys. So I'm definitely not a passerby. So I will be playing this game and I will be evaluating this game. It's probably going to be only about 2 hours today because I really want to get into everything that was changed and everything that's stayed the same. So what I can say, I don't remember there being an opening screen window of the word the thing, and then it faded into this screen right here. I don't remember that from the original game. If I remember clearly, it was this original screen and the word the thing on top of it, and I believe the texts were at the bottom. Or maybe I'm just thinking of another game that had something similar to this, and the text was at the bottom. But I was pretty sure the original had the text more at the bottom. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just imagining because I've played so many of these old-timey games that I believe the most logical decision was to have the text below the characters and you scroll up and down. Maybe the original text was like this, um, but I don't remember there was an opening screen of title screen, so that might be something new. Obviously, the sound effects sounds, or should I say, the sound design or of the world and how the wind sound, how the background music, it feels less static and it feels more on point with regards to you hearing everything through your headset. And of course, the scroll up and down is very faint, where the original one I believe was more abrupt and more sharp. So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's fine because I can still hear when I go up and down which one I'm selecting. So from the options menu, that's about still the same. The in and out, as in you're opening a door, that's about the same. They just touch up on the sound to make it sound more smoother rather than sharp. Still not sure if that's a good thing or not, but it's passable. The inclusions of music, I believe the music and music volume is still the same. Control of volume. I don't remember there being a low pass filter, but maybe there was. I remember when you exit out and you save an option in the original game, it was this little recording, so that's still about the same. I don't believe it was an auto save though. I believe you had to manually save it. So if that has changed from manual save to auto save, where you had to press a button and then it saved, then that's good. That's an improvement. But if it's the same, it feels like it's the same, then So far, the intro title is good. I'll give it a point for that. And various different um, sounds and scrollings, and it's pretty good. Give it a point for those too. Um, and the display is pretty good with regards to what I'm seeing right now. It's the screen is pretty crisp. The titles are it's a little bit difficult to see because it's in old text and it's computer old text, but that's part of the ambience of the film. I don't believe there was bloom in the original game. Um, I don't believe that I don't believe that you could have adjusted the film grain either or the bloom. So the fact that they allow you to remove that or to add or put it back is a good thing. I don't believe that there were ambient inclusions in the original game. I think ambient is something that happened to more recent games than old. So I'm glad they included that as well. And if it isn't, then it's fine. Language is pretty much the same. Primary language, HUD and menus, crosshair. That all seem to be the same. It could be something that's different, but like I said, it's been like 15. No, it's been less than that since I've originally played this game. I believe it was 12 years ago. No, even less than that. I think it's been like 10 years. No, it's been more than 10 years. Yeah, it's about 12 years ago. 12 or 13 years ago, I played this game. So I was young, but I wasn't that young. I was still in my 20s. I would say, yeah, in my mid 20s. Yeah, it was probably like 13 years ago. So I'm still in my mid 20s. But still, that was the only time I was able to play this game because when I was in my teens, like I was 16, 15, 14, I wasn't able to get access to this game until I got old enough to have my own job and get my own money. And by the time that happened, I believe this game went out of stock and PlayStation 2 got replaced by PlayStation 3. So I'm glad that they finally brought it back. That's the one thing I'm glad they brought it back. So I'm trying a new game and see how this goes. I highly recommend people buy this game, is because if this game goes away again, then you won't be able to attain it again. You might have to wait another 20 years. It's been like 15 or 20 years since the original game came out. So what happens if, it's not making any money anymore again? It's going to go away again. So the best option is to purchase a game that you like this, that you know is a classic, and keep it within your inventory or within the cloud. Because if it goes away again, you might not be able to get access to it again. Like especially if PlayStation 6 comes out, and the moment PlayStation 6 comes out, you probably won't be able to play it on that system because the the thing is coded for PlayStation 4 and 5. So when you have opportunities to play rare games like this, especially old-timey games that they brought back from, the dead, I would highly recommend that you purchase it simply to have it. It's like a collector's edition. If you can collect the original The Thing, here's the opportunity to do so. Because if it goes away again, then it's nobody's fault but your own this time. You couldn't get it because you were too younger the first time. You're old enough to get it now, so it will be nobody's fault but your own if you do not obtain a classic that's possibly will go out of stock once again when the new system PlayStation 6 comes out. and who knows when that'll happen. But when it does, the same thing will happen like happened to the thing the first time. It goes away for like decades or a decade or two, and you don't see it until someone decides to do something about it again. And who knows if they're going to do a remaster of this again or even a remake. You don't know. So I don't chance things like that. When I see gems like this and I have the opportunity for gems like this to pop up, I take it. If GoldenEye pops up again, I'm definitely playing GoldenEye. Because who knows if they'll ever make that again.
Blake, it's Whitley. What's the situation?
Not good.
What do you see?
Not a goddamn thing in this storm.
Have you found anything?
Well, your transmitter's down and everything else is foobar.
What do you mean?
The base is gone, Colonel. It looks like massive explosives damage. Any clues here are gonna be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Understood. Do a recon, see if you can find anything that'll give us an idea what happened. I could try to get the chopper back to you within an hour, but visibility's falling fast and the report for your area is not very good.
Okay. We'll make a sweep and report back.
Roger. Meanwhile, I'll check up on Alpha Team. Oh, Blake, just remember it's 40 below out there. We both know exposure could sneak up on you. Keep your team together and get them to shelter as quickly as you can.
Roger that. Blake out.
Okay, so that's very helpful. Green text green text represents objective, orange text represents completion. So the first thing I'm going to do is see what's all different with regards to the game. Obviously the main menu that shows that something is already different, opening scene, the thing. Now, I don't believe that was present in the original game. I gave it already 2 points, one for sound and one for the beginning title. Second, second is movement. Original game, I believe you had to hold down a button and move. Here you're just using the L3, and boy, he moves extremely fast. I don't remember him moving this fast. This is faster than Warframe. Look how fast that boy is moving around. Alright, so that's very good, giving a point for that. The doors opening by themselves by you just going close to them is still present, still good. The lighting has been improved vastly. Um, I have to put myself in the form of the characters, or inside the environment. So if I imagine these people aren't here, remove these bots from this room and look at the ceiling, look at the
Area looks secure.
walls, look at the lighting and the floor. That's very realistic. The gradation of the light fading away from that has been improved. The crust and Gaussian style bleakness on the curves, grooves, and corner is more improved on. I think the sound effects is pretty much still the same. Let's see the shadows of characters. The shadow of characters look more crisper. In the original one, it looks kind of more blurry. Actually, now I think about it, I can't really tell. It might have been the same, so I can't say too much on that. The image of characters' faces, those look about the same. Yeah, those are the same. Outfits on characters, also the same. They just look, because of the lighting, you could see them more. R3, yeah, improved. Let's see what else. What else we got here? Okay, so I'm gonna go on the buttons. The option button is this. Same. Center D-pad brings up something called view keys. The same from the original game. However, because of the R3, which is the run button, is so good, you could easily scroll on them, so that's an improvement. So that's another point I'll give to the game. I don't have anything, so I can't check out the different key items. What else? Let's see if L1 does something. L1 does do something, okay. L1 is probably for consumables. So L1 represents consumables. Typically, it's the up, down, right, or direction button on your center D-pad. I mean, not center D-pad, on your controller. But in this game, it is the L1. Not sure if that has changed from the original game. Let's see what R1 does. R1, okay. Yeah, so I think it's about the same. It's the same. It is the same. Because originally game, one button represented for weapons and ammunition, and the other button, R1, represented ammos and so on and so forth. Okay, so I didn't intend to do that, but let me see. Could it be because I pressed R1 first and my hand was on this and this was highlighted? That's why he turned it on. Okay, wait. Let me. Can I move off of it? It don't seem like I could. Once I press the L1 for the flare, I can't move off the flare. I guess it's because I have no other items to move. I can't move off the gun either when I press R1. Okay. But for the center D-pad, I could move all the way around. In other words, I could see documents. So that's a bit weird. I wonder why I can move around with the center D-pad to see documents, but I can't move around with regards to flares and ammunition. So I don't know if that was different or that's the same, but it doesn't really matter. Pressing the button once, center D-pad, and then pressing a button again turns it on and off. However, for the L1 and R1, those are both toggle based. I guess those are for quick actions if you're in a mission, especially if you're firing or you have to make quick decisions. Where this is more, you press it, you look at the item, and then you take it off. There is a weirdness with regards to jankiness when I'm looking at objects. Right? It starts shaking up like this, but that's fine. Flare does light up the room nicely to give it that nice little ambient type of feeling. Very crimson-like. Eventually it goes away in time, but it stays on for a very long time. That's very interesting. Let's see what else. What about try? Okay, so he's talking. Triangle button. Ah, triangle button goes into third person. Can I move? Whoa, wait a minute. Triangle button goes into first person, but I cannot move in first person. I can only look in first person, and I'm kind of like, it's like I'm mounting a gun or something. I cannot move from this location once I'm in first person. So that's still the same from the original game. Once you go into first person, you can't move. So I guess this first person is just meant for looking. I don't remember that from the original game, but maybe it was there all the time. But I never used first person, so I don't think it matters. Let's see what triangle. Actually, I don't want to shoot any of these guys, so I have to. Let's see what circle does. Circle is crouch. So that's still the same from the original game. For I'm not sure if this game has stealth, but if I remember clearly, it does have duck and cover. Or if I want to get through vents or something, I remember that. So the crouching may not be for stealth, but it probably means for getting into access tunnels and stuff like that, or to dodge an enemy attack, or to stay on behind cover. See what square is for. Square is nothing at the moment. Maybe square represents an interactive button with regards to picking up items. X is nothing as well. Maybe X is the button for interacting with items. So square and X do nothing at the moment. Alright. This is the beginning of the game. Oh shit. Can I turn it off? No. Okay, so you have to be very careful with your consumables. If you accidentally press R2, you could use your consumable. Typically you would think aiming down sight is R2, and then you shoot with, aiming down sight is L2, and then you shoot with R2, because that's what I did. L2 is flare. L2 is not aiming down sight. So this isn't a shooting game as in you aim down sights and then you shoot. This is a straight up, you just use the R2 button. There is no aiming down sights. Otherwise, if you try to aim down sights using the L2, you will always throw a consumable, which is your flare. I think that's still the same from the original game. I believe this original game never had aiming down sights. It was meant for you to shoot enemies like this, in this form. Not sure if that's something they could have improved on, but then again, this is not a remake. This is just a remastered. There's no
shelter.
Yes, I understand.
Oh, this cold is killing me.
You just stepped outside for like less than a minute, dude. Alright, so okay, so let's see what else. All the buttons have been identified. Let's see what the down button is the same as the. Oh, that's weird. Machine gun is R1, but if I press the down button, it becomes view items. So I have the machine gun, and the machine gun is a view item, but when I press the down button again, it goes away. I press R1. Okay, so maybe they're not the same. Maybe the R1 and the down button are very different. Maybe R1 represents the weapons you have that you could use, and the down button represents the items, the view items that you could. I believe, yeah, there's a give mechanic. There's a give mechanic because they have a little box. So these view items are probably items that are within your backpack. Oh, now I'm starting to remember. So the down button on your controller represents probably what's in your backpack at the moment. So currently in my backpack, I have an extra um, machine gun with 50 rounds, and currently in my hand, I have a machine gun with 50 rounds as well. All right, let's see. Left button does nothing. Right button does nothing. Up button represents the characters. Okay. And if I remember clearly, you could scroll on each of the characters. Yep. And once you scroll on the character and it highlights them with a little silhouette line around them. Well, not really silhouette line, but highlighted line around them. North, Burrow, well done. Those are the names. This is your squad, group stay. Now if I press group stay,
Okay.
they all respond together. And I press group follow,
All right. Yes, sir.
they all follow. Okay, so I will command them all to
All right.
stay. So there's a group command and then there's probably individual command if I remember clearly. So I'm gonna press on north. Yeah, so there's individual command that you could give to each of them. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like the original thing game. The bots in this game for something that was way back in the past was pretty damn good for the technology back then. To put the amount of coding they put in for each individual bots and then put in additional other codes for group commands. So there was individual bot coding for each of them to do certain things, and then there was group commands for all of them to do certain things. Like each of them have the ability to follow and go to or to take weapon. So they all have this command on them. Same as this guy right here. They all have the command. So that's same command for each individuals, which is an unfettered coding. And then there's the tethered coding, which is group commands, which mean they all do the same thing. So there was one tethered group command, which is to follow, and another tethered group command, which is to unfollow. But then you highlight each of them. They each have separate tethered, untethered commands, which is three different ones. No, four. So that was one of the things I loved about the original game. Each of the AIs had like their own coding,
Man, I hate this job.
and you could command them individually. So I'm going to proceed with the game. I believe that's pretty much everything as of right now. I could give weapons to them, I could take weapons from them, so on and so forth, but at the moment I don't have anything. So yeah, that's one of the things I love about the original game. This is one of the first games that actually did a lot of coding for individual bots.
Blake, you need anything repaired or even a simple bypass, and I'm your man.
If any of you take on any damage, get back to me ASAP, and I'll help you out. I'm not carrying any dead bodies back.
I'm locked, loaded, and ready to make shit dead.
Yeah, I think this is a highly underrated game. I mean, think about it. You have base codes, which is commands for your bots. Then you have individual codes, which is commands for your bots. Then you have codes like what it says right here. Soldiers always have to camouflage, well, to identify soldiers and stuff. That's pretty much normal. That's just the outer appearance. But then it says here, members of your squad are very much alive. They blink, they fidget, so on and so forth. They're bored. So each of these behaviors that they will do, aggressive, timid behavior, or fidgety behaviors, are coding. So they have to code for each of these different emotions because each of these different emotions will represent how they're feeling with regards to you and trusting you. So happy, sad, so on and so forth. All of these are coding that they had to put into the game with regards to how you, the character, are playing the game. And each one of them have this attached to them. It doesn't even matter if they're all the same. Each of them are coded with these individual things. And then they're coding for engineer, then they're coding for the gunner, then there's coding for the medic. Yeah, okay. Okay, and yeah, pretty much. And then there's an okay, and then there's another coding. There's a coding which is meant to for you, not for them, for you to understand their moods, which is when to calm them down, when to heal them, when to build back up their trust, when to see if there's a threat level around, when to give them weapon and not. Because giving them weapon is one thing, that's a code, but deciding when to do that, that's another code. Yeah, and then these codes represents different colors: green, red, orange. Okay. So let me look at my characters. They all look fine at the moment. They all seem to be trusting me at the moment. Their health is all good. It's all in, red, um, green, green. My trust factor is pretty good. I'm not going to do a group follow. I'm going to let them stay where they are. Let them stay right there. Okay, so that's pretty much still the same from before. So I'm at a solid one. No, I'm at a solid two regards to the game. So I just started the game about 15 to 20, 30 minutes ago. Let me see what time it is. Yeah, about 30 minutes ago. And I've been evaluating everything from the lighting and the color grading and the design of everything, and then the sound, and then the bots, and of course the movement. He moves really fast. It's ridiculous. Um, yeah, and that's pretty good. They did a good job. I mean, this is a remastered, not a remake, so there's no reason to change up anything majorly, just minorly. Comms room power. Okay, so he's the engineer. So I would go to him, and I would go to, since he's the Mr. Fix It, I would go to him to ask for him to fix. Go to take weapon. I'm not going to take his weapon, and I'm not going to allow him. I'm going to tell him to follow me and fix. So follow me,
Okay.
and or maybe all I had to do was tell him to fix. No, this is give to squad members. I'm not going to tell him to give to. Go to comms room power.
All right.
Now I've noticed that I didn't tell him to follow, so I'm gonna check to see if they made a code that he doesn't follow me. But I did hit the go to, so it would consider the go to as follow. So now I have to turn it off. Yeah. So the go to was
Yes,
a
sir.
follow command. Christ. I don't remember that from the original game, but okay. Your squad members have been down. Bring him in. Okay, close proximity and he will heal you. The beautiful part about this game is in other games, especially in horde type games with zombies and monsters, you have to run towards whoever is the medic or to a medical pack or something. Here, you just press a command to allow them to come to you and to do, you know, to heal you. Nothing. Okay, so I can't let him go to something. So I could just tell him to follow me.
Okay,
And he'll heal me.
hold still and I'll fix you up.
Yep. Okay. But then I'll have to tell him to stay here again. So that's one of the things I loved about the game. It was intelligent enough to know that you're in charge. So it does not do anything that it wants to do. You are fully in charge. So your survival and your character's survival is completely dependent on you acting, or on your actions and your actions alone. You are in fact
Yes, sir!
a squad leader, so you have to behave like an actual military squad leader. You can't expect them to do anything without your say-so. So I'm going to give it another point for that as well. They kept that in the game. So now I'm going to check my objectives. Objective. Let's see. How do I check objectives? Restart level. Center D-pad. It's okay. Objectives. Alright. I thought it said when the objective is active, it's green. And when it's completed, it's orange. Here it's yellow. So I guess I somewhat have completed the objective, but it's not completely done because it's still active. That's why it's yellow and not orange. So when it starts, it's yellow. I mean, when it starts, it's green. But when it's, I guess, halfway through, it's yellow. I'm a little confused on that one, but it's active at the moment. It's not orange, so it's not completed. Okay. Retrieve evidence and rescue any survivors. Keep team alive. So that's all I got to do at the moment. So there is, let's see if there's a map. I don't believe the original game had a map. So if there's no map, then they've kept that alive in the game as well. I mean, I don't mind them adding stuff to the game, but you have to understand the difference between remake and remastered. A remake is when someone does more than half of changes in a game. Like if you do a half to about more than half of changes in a game, that's kind of a remake. When it's about half and half, you're messing with, the logic of remastered and remake. But the moment you go over that halfway point, you're now in the remake territory. And when you definitely go past the 65% marker, you're definitely in remake territory because you've changed far more than half of everything from the original game. Here in remastered, if they just add at least 25% more things, or maybe even 30% more things, that won't change the game, the majority of the game whatsoever at all. It's a remastered with additives. The additives are like appetizers. It's not the main course, it's just there to make you satisfied at the moment. But it doesn't change the game at all. It's still the same. Here, it's fully remastered, and the only improvements and changes that were made were to things that didn't work. So nothing was fully changed, they were just improved on. And the commands are still the same, and the windows are still the same. And this is the main one. This is why I say when this game originally came out, there was a lot of stuff. And it was highly underrated because you have the trust system. You have my trust has gone from high to low. But there's a handshake, and the handshake arrow represents and is pointing down, means it's gone down. It's orange, but they still trust you because the handshake still exists, even though it's orange and it's gone down. And when it goes to 0, they're still trusting you, and they will still follow you, and they will still shake your hand. But the moment you screw up, it goes to my trust has gone from low to enemy level 1. So the moment you see their handshake is red, a red arrow pointing down, they're willing to shake your hand, but they're basically saying, the moment you screw up, I'm going to shoot you right in the face. So you got to gain their trust the moment the red arrow is pointing downwards. Otherwise, this goes to threat level 1. Now, they won't directly shoot you in the face if it does go to threat level 1, but they won't follow you. They will probably stay where they are and start to do their own thing. They will start to shoot you in the face when it goes to enemy level 3. That's when they'll shoot you in the face, because then that's a huge blinking sign to show that you're an enemy. They won't follow you, I believe, at threat level 1 and threat level 2, which is enemy level 1 and 2. So you have to keep the trust handshake in. Even if the trust handshake is red, you still have to keep it. If it goes into that whole bullseye looking thing, then it's bad territory. So let's see what else. Yeah, just as I thought, see you as an enemy. My trust has gone from 0 to low. Okay, so yeah, it's the same as it was before. Down arrow represents going down. The arrow starts going back up on characters, and you see the arrow going upwards. It's going from very low back to upwards. So it's very simple and easy to remember. And the icons, I'm gonna give the game another point for that, and another point for this as well. They kept it in the game, and it's still the same. They really haven't improved on this, but you can now see the icons on top of character far more easily now. It's brighter. Here, not so much. So I'll give the game another point for that. My fear has gone from danger to crack up. Oh, there's also, I keep forgetting that other than them not trusting you and want to kill you, there are also situations where they lose it. They lose their shit and would commit suicide. They would blow their brains out, or they would kill their fellow teammates just out of sheer panic. So even if they weren't infected, see, this is why I'm saying this is an underrated game. Like, how many people will make a game where they're coding for nervous breakdown? Like, no one is going to put additional more coding for them losing their shit. And then you have to give them like medication or something so they could calm themselves down. Like, that's a lot of coding for a very old game. My fear has gone from danger to crack up level 1. Yeah. So the moment they start cracking up, it's not really about trust anymore. It's simply about they can't handle it. They need like some dope or something to calm them down, or some weed. Okay.
Get this over with.
Jesus. Okay, so they've kept that alive as well. I'm gonna give them the game another point for that. This door opening up and then there's an explosion that made me jump, and then this one opening up and then the explosion that made me jump too. So I've played many games where there were like jump scares, but those were also obvious jump scares. Here it's just like it's not really meant to scare you, but it just happened out of nowhere. Like, I have no idea that that explosion was going to happen just like that. There was no warning, there was no like creepy music, there was no type of atmosphere to show that something is coming. It just happened like that. So I like the jump scares in this old game because they just popped up out of nowhere and just scare you without any warning. I am curious about one thing though. If I leave them in here by themselves for too long and go wander off, the hell will happen? Nah. But then again, it's 3 of them in here. So if one of them was infected, the other 2 would waste that person. Yeah, all 3 of them cannot be infected. One of them, even if one of them was human, that person would start open fire on the other 2 if I go away for too long. Yeah, so I'll leave them here for right now, but I won't let them stay here for like a long time. That's also a mechanic in the game. If you stay away from your characters, if they're by themselves, especially if they're by themselves, they're screwed. Or if they're with another guy and you don't know if the other guy's infected, they're also screwed. 3 is good. But 2 people by themselves, that's when you start, you know, have to consider your options and decisions that you're going to make. You see that? That's beautiful, man. I wish like modern game would do stuff like that. Stop adding their music to damn jump scares. Just make the jump scare happen without any music.
I hate this job.
Okay. Let's look at everyone. Everyone's still good. You're nice and warm. There's also conservation of ammo, which I'm going to give the game a point for that. You cannot splurge your ammo. This is like Resident Evil 2. If you waste all your ammo on an enemy, the game gives you ammo later on through certain periods of the game. However, it doesn't give you like ammo at every turn and every corner, so you have to consider when you should be using ammo. And of course, I'm going to give the game another point. There's the mechanic of the weather. As much as I want to go out and explore, I have to know if I go too far or I stay too long outside. That bar at the bottom left, is going to keep dropping. So I have to be fast with regards to what I'm looking for and get the hell back inside. See? That's why you can't go too far.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, it's good.
I got a bad feeling about this.
You also should listen to what your squad members are saying. When they're just bitching and moaning, that's one thing. But when they start saying weird stuff like I got a bad feeling about this, you have to pay attention. Sometimes it could mean nothing, and other times it could mean a lot of things. Okay, so basically I can't do anything in this building at the moment. Of course there's a blocking here. And doors, I don't have to press on doors because they're automatically open the moment I walk up to them. So in the building at the moment I can't do anything. Okay. That was there. This is blocking here. This is blocking here. There are secret locations to go through. I just don't remember them from. Okay, that's blocking there. That's blocking there. My cold is body's slowly but surely dropping towards halfway point. It is 40 below, which means it's ridiculously cold. Now, if it's 100 below, then that's basically suicide. But 40 below means you're just outside for like a couple of minutes. Even if you're wearing cold weather gear and you start getting cold for like
I don't know what we're doing
about
here.
10 minutes or so, then it starts to becoming deadly. Like 40 below is freezing temperature. So I'm reconning this area. See how far I could walk before the game tells me I can't walk any further, while still paying attention to the cold. Okay, so turns around there. So, okay. It's blocked off here. Okay, so I have to go directly through the building to get to the other location. I just have to remember where. Here is just a room. Okay. Okay, that's weird. That's for that. And the weapons, of course. Okay. I now have, okay, a pistol. And pressing down. Okay. So the pistol is currently in my bag. Or is it currently on me? Don't understand that at the moment right now. It basically says it's in my bag or on my, maybe that's what that meant. So let's see. Who has a weapon? He has a weapon. He has a weapon. You do not have a weapon. You need a weapon. I'm going to to build your trust and to give you... Well, hold on. He gets to keep the weapon, but he doesn't get the magazines.
Okay. All right.
The hell? Oh, that's weird. Okay, I don't remember that from the original game. So, once you give them the weapon, and they have acquired the weapon, you just pressed on them, the character themselves, and then they automatically reload. Okay. Can I give them more? Oh, I keep forgetting I don't need to even walk up to him. As long as I'm within the vicinity.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute, I pressed group. Okay. Never mind.
All right.
Oh. Okay, so he can only have a total of 20 rounds within his pistol. I can't give him more. Yeah. Otherwise it would show. Okay. Alright. Let's look at this. That's damage. This must be Windows room. Yeah, this is Windows room. Was this the room that Blair chopped up? Well, let me see. If this is the room that Blair chopped up, Blair would have to have come... You don't understand. That thing wanted to be us. He was smashing at this. And at this. And then Charles was coming down. No. Charles was over here. No. Okay, so this is Windows room, but this is not the room that Blair was in. The comm room. Because the pathway doesn't look the same. Like, I think I don't know that movie verbatim, but I pretty much know the hallways and certain things in that movie verbatim. Alright, so I'll leave them there and I'll proceed forward. There have to be a location or a place that I'm not seeing. I keep forgetting to the whole aim down sight thing. Okay. Can't go there. But I can go here. Okay. So I'm only going to do about 2 hours of this. I'm just checking it out to see what are the improvements. Like, either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow is going to be like the real big play. Because tomorrow I'm going to play Warframe, so if I'm going to play Warframe, then I probably won't play this. But definitely the day after tomorrow, if I don't play this tomorrow. Gain access to an infirmary. How do I do that? I believe I should be able to crouch. Once I gain access to an infirmary, I'll run back to these guys and let them come in here. I'll neutralize whatever threat is here by myself. Since I know I can't turn into the thing because I'm the protagonist, the only way that anything will happen to me is death by the thing, but I won't turn. Interactive objects are things that I could press on. Okay, so I need to find... It's not on this. It is getting a bit cold, and I need to run back to safety, like right now. I'm glad this guy moves so fast, because you definitely would need it. Okay, so I did check here. I check here. Check here. Okay, this was the bulldozer that McCready or McCready, it was McCready, Niles, or Gary. One of those three slammed it into the building. It never showed it in the film which one of them were driving the bulldozer. Something's going on. Maybe I'm missing something. Cole really kicks your ass real fast. There you go. Alright. It has to be around there somewhere. Maybe it's in the helicopter. Maybe I could get to the helicopter real quick. And this is the helicopter that Blair screwed up. The hell is this? Do I remember this from the original game? I don't know, but I'm not chancing anything. Seems like a death trap right there without backup. See, this is why I rather run and recon by myself, because if I'm running with these guys with me, they will start to get cold automatically, and then their trust level will go down simply because you're making them freeze to death. Let me try this way. Oh, but I keep forgetting this is blocked off. That's all blocked off. Okay. So I will jump down there. If I have to fight, I'll fight. That's blocked off. Or maybe it won't allow me to jump. Nope. Oh, okay, so there's fall damage. Giving the game a point for that too. Can I get warm inside here? Yes, I can. Beautiful. What the hell is this? I just took something. Maybe it's a document. It's not a document. It's not a weapon. L1. Fire extinguisher. Right. Okay. Unselect. Okay, so that's the mistake I was doing. I wasn't paying attention. Once you highlight it here, it automatically selects it. So you have to turn it off. Same as the original game. So when you go back on it, it's not highlighted yellow anymore. Got it. So they kept that alive too. I'll give it a point for that as well. The way you could select and deselect things. Even though this is kind of scary, me being by myself, I prefer to keep my team alive than have them all go apeshit. I believe there might actually be a platinum trophy for at least keeping one or two or even all three of your people alive. I like that. And it goes away. I like that a lot. Now, more recent games in this day and age.
What the hell?
Oh, that's beautiful. They follow me thereafter, so I kept them safe.
What do you think it is, Captain?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Looks like a goddamn UFO to me. This shit gives me the creeps.
Yeah, we're not alone in the universe and all that crap. Check it out and move on.
I don't get this.
It's just a scratch.
Okay, so I really like that. I was thinking to myself, okay, so magazines represent this, and then I realized there's no such thing. It's just ammo. You can only fire off 50 ammo, and you only carry 450 ammo. 20 for pistols and 180 just to have on you. I really liked that creepy sound before I saw the ship. That was pretty good. That's the one thing I loved about. This is why I say this game is very underrated. Like most, I mean, keep harping on, you know, more current fashion games, but they do this bad thing of leading you on to the scare with either a shadow or sound that's saying, okay, something creepy is about to happen. But like, if you're telling someone something creepy is about to happen, you already lose them, or at least lose about 2 or 3% of the scare that would scare them, like the jump scare, because it's an obvious that something is about to happen. Like if a character in a movie is, you know, what, it's getting janky like that. If a character in a movie is, see, this is what I'm saying. If I let go of my controller, if I don't, oh, that's what it is. It's moving with regards to me moving my controller. I was thinking maybe there's a coding problem, but it's not. It's just behaving with regards to me turning my controller left or right, up and down. Okay, so that's new. The original game, there wasn't no such thing. It was just a static. You're facing the direction when you and choose to move the controller. Here, the controller is more attached to your movement. So if I put it down on the table, it will refuse to move. But like I was saying before, current movies have this terrible thing of showing a character feeling dread when something is about to horribly happen. That takes away a percentage of the viewing audience scare. Sound also, it takes away a percentage. And also creepy shadows or person about to show up also takes away from the dread. So that's 3% you're already taking away from a jump scare. I don't know why people do it in this day and age, but I guess it's their way of not trying to make people catch a heart attack, like say if an old couple or someone's dumb enough to take their kids in a film, the kid don't just die from a heart attack, or an old man die from a heart attack. Maybe they're being responsible, or maybe, which I highly doubt. Typically is their, I would say typically it's, see, this sound effect or this music that just pop up, that's something they do in this day and age. You
I'm gonna hide this tape when I'm finished. If none of us make it, at least there'll be some kind of a record. The storm's been hitting us pretty hard now for 48 hours. We still have nothing to go on. One other thing. I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over. Windows found some shredded long johns, but the name tag was missing. They could be anybody's. We're all very tired. There's nothing else I can do. Just wait. R.J. McCready, helicopter pilot, U.S. Out.
Okay, so a total of only 5 flares is what I'm allowed to have. Got it. There's also no running button in this game, because this guy is always running, so you never have to press any button in order to run. So that's another thing I liked about the game. I'm gonna give it a point for that. Running was always automatic in the game. He was always running, or in this case, jogging. But his jogging was so fast, it made Leon in Resident Evil 4 look like a freaking chump.
This is Pierce. Come in. Do you read me? Over. I need help. Do you read me? Over.
This mission is bullshit. Hold still and I'll fix you up.
Okay, so that's what the down button is for. It's for adrenaline. Okay. Well, the down button is always to bring up the view items. But the L1 is what actually shows the item. I don't really know what it was talking about the down button, if it's actually L1. But maybe they changed that up for it to be better access. Darn funny. Okay, written on documents. Okay. Also very good. Once Blake remembers the code, you, the player, don't have to remember the code. So that's another point as well. So at the moment, I'm at a solid 3 with regards to the game. So let's see what time it is right now. Yeah, I give it about 20 more minutes. 25 minutes. I really like the fact that you could go solo in the game and save your teammates by doing so. I mean, they really are necessary if there's a lot of enemies around, but if there are not a lot of enemies around, then it's fine. There's also the fact that you would need to get access to certain things. Obviously, this door is locked. Strange, you would think this guy would have a flashlight or something instead of just flares. Okay, so maybe I was reading that wrong. Maybe maybe it meant maybe completed rather than going orange. That's I probably was reading that completely wrong. Or maybe I was reading it right. So apparently green means that it's completed, to inform you that it's done because it's green. But when it's yellow, um, yellow or orange, it means it's still active. So that was something from back in the days that was present back then in those days I remember when you're completed something, it usually pop up is a green symbol or blue. Usually when something is active, it was always yellow. Um, but green and blue typically meant it was done, or gray. If it was gray means, or faded out, means it was completed. So there's no code here. This is all about autopsy. This is Blair's all stuff. Okay. So for a situation like this, I definitely have to bring the engineers with me now. So I have one choice in the situation but to make sure they come with me.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Yes, sir. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yes, sir.
Ah, Christ, what is that?
Chill out. Everybody keep tight till we figure out what's going on.
Hey, looks like your last girlfriend. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I believe this might be Copper speaking. Because Copper was a doctor that did autopsy work. I could be wrong. 11:38. Okay.
That's the kind of information Whitley was talking about. I gotta find that report.
Yeah. So he automatically opens the door because, as stated before in the game, the character, once he knows the code, you don't have to, as the player, remember the code again, because the character will automatically remember it. So, giving the game a point for that, or maybe I already gave it a point before. Okay, so I've made my first save in the game. I think I'll stop 15 minutes from now. If I make it to the next save, um, I don't think I'll make it to the next save, so I'll probably run back here to the same save again. But at
I don't
least,
know what we're doing here.
I was able to keep my characters alive past the first 2 hours, and that's damn good. The first checkpoint. I'm not sure if I'll get like a kind of a
This
trophy
mission
for
is
that,
bullshit.
but I believe that you do get a trophy for keeping all your members alive, a plat trophy. I think you get a regular bronze trophy if you keep just one of them alive, something like that.
Whitley, this is Blake.
What have you got?
One body, identification says Childs, no survivors. And what appears to be
One body? And what?
in some kind of unidentified craft. It looks, well, like a UFO. Colonel? Colonel!
Roger. I'll have a chopper there ASAP. There's a supply crate that was dropped earlier near the base. It contains C4 charges. I want you to rig all the remaining buildings and I'll remote detonate them from here.
Affirmative. I'll contact you when we're finished.
Alright, so here's the thing. This is why a lot of people say the game is not really canon, but at the same time, I say it is canon. Because here, in the film, it's left up to your imagination of what became of Childs and McCready at the end of the film. It's an open-ended type film. But here, in the game, if the game is part of the film or part of the universe, then this is the fate of Childs. He froze to death here, which means Childs was not the thing. And a lot of people didn't like that when they played the original game. Because if this is frozen Childs here, then that means obviously Child was never a thing. Which means McCready was the thing, or McCready also was not the thing, and they were both human beings to begin with. So in the game itself basically says McCready was either the thing or they were both human, and everyone was wrong from the very beginning. The thing never survived. Oh, another thing, there's a bug here, so I have to load where I was again. There apparently is a bug. I can't get out of it. So that's my first negative point of the game. There is a bug in the game, and I got stuck on Child's body just now. So that's my first actually bug that I found in the game, for which they should definitely check that out. I don't believe it's that big of a deal because the loading and reloading of the game is pretty damn fast. However, I do not understand why I would be here of all places when I saved at the other location. That's what I don't get.
This is Pierce. Come in. Do you read me? Over. I need help. Do you read me? Over.
Oh, I know what happened. I know what happened. The autosave was from earlier time. This is the more current one. So the manual save, the autosave was the one that was there. The manual save is the more current one. Yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah, so a lot of people did not like the fact that Childs in the game was frozen. Can I skip? Yes, I can. So I'll return back. So I believe I'll stop the game here. So I have my own med kits, all my people are safe. Everyone's fine. I'll save once more. Um, there. Let's double check. Yep. So, a lot of people did not like in the original game that Charles was dead, frozen, because it left the open-ended version of the film not open-ended anymore. It answered the question for who died and who survived in the end. Where they both think was one of them the thing, or was neither of them the thing. So in the game, it kind of answered partially that question. You now know Charles definitely was not the thing because he froze to death. So the only thing left was then the possibility that MacReady was the thing is more highly than any previous thoughts before of suspecting him. So it's very likely that MacReady was the thing from the very beginning of the film.
Area looks secure.
Now stated in the game. But here's the thing. That doesn't mean anything because it simply means Charles froze to death and MacReady was nowhere to be found. But there's no guarantee that MacReady was the thing because that's also open-ended. The thing about, or should I say, the most important aspect of knowing who's the thing and not the thing is that there isn't really an important aspect. It's like you really can't tag who is the thing and who's not the thing simply based on speculation or even based on evidence. Because for years many people believed Charles was the thing, and then in the game it then showed that Charles was dead. And of course they would never put Charles as being dead in the video game if John Carpenter and of course the studio said it was okay for them to show Charles frozen. So they had to get the okay from John Carpenter, the director of the movie The Thing, to put in the game that Charles was frozen for them to be approved by them, because that's a very big deal for Charles to be frozen to death. So he had to have allowed that to have happened rather than just them doing their own thing themselves. And even if he said, well, I'm not allowed, they just did their own thing, he accepted that they were doing their own thing. So in some ways it was allowed. So yeah, that's all I have to say with regards to the game. And it's still, even if Charles is frozen, it's still open-ended. So the video game is still left the film kind of open-ended. So the video game didn't really ruin the film. You just now know that Charles is not the thing. Doesn't mean MacReady is the thing. It just means that now Charles is not the thing. For all we know, MacReady could still be human. The whole aspect of the film was that nobody really trusts each other. It was a film based on trust. Trust no one. So even if two people were completely human, they would always still, at the very end, even if they're holding guns to each other's head, would think each other are the thing. And it was only based on trust would they both lower their weapons and see what happens thereafter. But even then, they would still not trust each other. So the whole point of the film was trust. Two people can be aliens, neither can be aliens. One could be alien, and one could not be alien. So the game really didn't ruin the film whatsoever at all. The game just subtracted a factor of a possibility of the end result of the film. Now, if later on in the end of the game it shows that MacReady is also frozen to death, but somewhere else frozen to death, then the movie, because this is claimed to be in canon in association to the movie, then proves that neither Childs or McCready were the thing, for which I would be 1000% fine with, because I like open-ended films and they're fun, but at the end of the day, there has to be closure to something, a type of identifier that something is should be closed, open and closed. A game or a film or whatever can be as open-ended as it wants for years or decades, but there does come a time when they have to be closure. So if the video game, or let's say in the future they do make a remake of the thing, and there is closure on what happened to McCready, I would be 1000% fine with it, because it's been more than decades since the original film came out, and that's, in my mind, is perfectly fine. We as an audience have had the opportunity and the privilege of enjoying an open-end film for decades or years, depending on when you were born. So if they decide to resolve that and make a finale to that, that's 100% fine. 100% fine, because that means the opportunity of open-ended was given, and that expiration date is now up. Now if someone wants the expiration date to never be up, then that's truly based on the decision by the director and the studio head to do so or not to do so. But if they decide to do so, then that's just the way it is. All things must come to an end in time, and someone is eventually going to do it. Maybe not this year, maybe not in the next 10 years, but eventually someone will do it. Someone will do it. So it all depends on when and where will happen. So I'm fine regardless of what that is and when it is. So I'm good for right now. So tomorrow I'll continue, if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. I will continue this, and I will fully dedicate myself to this the day after tomorrow. I believe, yeah, the day after tomorrow I'll fully dedicate myself to this, because I won't play anything else, not Warframe, not anything else. I'll just play this, and this only. So that should be I should be able to invest about a good 4 hours in this. By 3 to 4 hours in this tomorrow. So even though this is not a long game, I believe if you straight up speed run this game, it might actually be 5 hours tops. But if you don't speed run this game, it might be a whopping 8 hours if you're taking your time. So 8 to 10 hours if you're taking your time. So yeah, I should be able to get past the halfway point 2 days from now. Yeah, okay, so pretty damn good. I'm at a solid 3.5 with regards to the game at the moment. So starting from the base of 0 to where I am now, from the base of 0 to where I am now, reevaluating everything to improve, I'm at a solid 3.5 with regards to Remastered, not regards to everything that still is the same. To what was remastered, not everything that's the same. Everything that's the same is already at the standard point. The original game I gave for the thing was an 8. So the original version of this that's still present here is still at an 8. But I'm not considering that. I'm considering all the additives leading up to the betterment of the game. So those points will be added towards that 8. So if I think about it in that way, well, let me be completely truthful with regards to this game. I only give it an 8 because I'm a fan. But in all truth, if you're not a fan of the game, you would probably give this game a 6.5 or a 6 at best, which means it was good, but it's not great. Like, if you're not into video games, but you believe it's good, everything's good in work, you would give it the game a 6. And if you're not that into video games, but you like to play games a lot and consider yourself a casual, it would be a 7. So, starting from the ground of 6 and 7, if I add those 3 points that I just gave to the game with regards to what was remastered, not with regards to what was already present in the game, it would have already been past the 8 or 9 territory. But I do realize I did give points for things that were kept in the game that was always there. So that 3.5, I'm now going to have to half that. I would have to half that to about, maybe about 1.5. No, 1.6, 1.7. So with regards to what was remastered and not of the original game that was always present there that they kept, I would say about 1.7 or 1.6 or 1.7 of things that were done better than the original game, which means at a base of 6, the game would be probably at a 7.7 at the very moment right now. As I'm playing it, with regards to things that were remastered, I would say it would be at a 7.7 right now. Added things on top of what was original to the game. Now, there are more things to come that they probably fixed as well. So I could say before the end of the game is over, I'll probably get to about another 1.6 or 1.7 things. So I might get to a whopping 4 points. Yeah, 3 or 4 points before the game is over, which will probably get this game into like the 8 or 9 territory before it's over, because the original game, I believe, Metacritic gave it like a 7 or something, or in the 7s territory, or the low 7s or to mid 7s territory. And maybe they increased it or decreased it over time, but because this is a remastered, I would say based on the improvements, it definitely feels like it would fall into the 8 category if it was always in the 7s. And if it was definitely not in the 7s and in the 6, the remastered version definitely bring it up to about 7, about a point and a half more, which would have got it to anywhere from 7.5 to about 7.6. So that's all I could say for right now. For me, I know it will fall into the 8 territory. I know it will fall into the 8 territory. The original game was in the 8 territory for me, but I would say if it falls into 8 territory and the remastered would be going from the casual to the not so casual, which you'll take it from the 7 to an 8. But for me, if I'm taking it from the remastered version of what I already had it in the 8s, it will be in the 9 territory. But realistically, taking my fandom out of the equation and looking at it for what it is, I would say before this game is over, it will probably fall into the 8 categories, the low 8s, which means it's very good as a remastered. Alright, that's it for right now. I gotta go.